Greetings, Internet, and welcome to Aaron Plays, and I hope you're doing fantastically well. This is my introduction, beginning of my process of learning enemy action Ardennes. And of course, I had to take the hardest option, which is playing it solo as the allies. In the actual rule book, start at the beginning. There's 3 rule books in the box. There's one for playing it 2-player. There's one for playing it solo as the German and one for playing solo as the Allies. There's also 3 maps, one for each of those ways you want to play, and 3 lots of different kinds of charts and tables to do so. So I watched a solo playthrough started watching the solo playthrough of the Germans, and there seems to be a lot of solo playthroughs of playing the Germans on YouTube and various other places. So I thought, let's play it from the Allies' perspective. The whole process was this: I've picked up Ardennes, enemy action Ardennes, and enemy action Kharkov. In fact, I was more keen on the Kharkov, to be perfectly honest. And I thought, actually, I don't know, any games on the Bulge. I know, shock. How can I not have any games on the? Well, I do now. I have enemy action Ardennes. I used to have an SPI quad game of the Ardennes. And I have played other games of the offensive, but I didn't own any. So this was, yes. And then, of course, obviously the 80th anniversary of the said events coming up on December 16th. And that sort of motivated me to do this. And also you guys in a poll motivated me to do this, because I was thought, well, should I do this or should I do Siege of Jerusalem? Well, it's got the thumbs up from you guys. So hence why I'm here. I've read the rules. And it was going through reading those rules. Going back to the basic points. It said, if you're learning this game, play it 2-player. Okay. Now I assume that meant you could play it 2-player as in opposed play, or you could still play it 2-player solo, just using those set of rules. It says if you are wanting to play it solo German first. Because the hardest option is playing it solo allies. That's me, isn't it? Yeah. So skipping those 2 other steps, I've gone straight into playing it solo allies. And I'm going to show my process of how I'm learning this game. I'm not going to just start playing the full campaign game as yet. But I do want to start the full campaign by December 16th. So that's a little mini target I've set myself. Because I'd like to commemorate the events of Senate for both sides. Though I will be playing it solo allied and I'll be learning it solo allied. Will I ever play solo German? Probably. Will I get to a pay it closed? I don't know. We'll see. But that's the process, and that's what I intend to do in this video. I will be showing the game. I'm not going to go into details of the rules. I'll be going through the rules as I'm playing the introductory scenario and the setup, the processes. But I have read the rules. That was a task. They're not that difficult to read per se, but there's a lot of them, and there's quite a lot of different new concepts you've got to get your head around. I had the same thing with my Air and Armor series. Yeah, there's new concepts and so forth. And I just seem to be drawn to these more complex systems, and I do like John Butterfield games, so hence why. Many reasons why I'm here. And Kharkov will follow at some point. So let's go down to the map and see what the hell I'm doing. So if you haven't realized it yet, yes, I'm using Vassal. As I mentioned quite a few of my videos, but if you're new to me, I don't have the table spaces yet. I've had it in the past. I've lost that at the present moment. Hopefully to get it back at some point. Vassal I find useful because I can save the game, store it, and also allows me to play players all over the world. But yes, I'll be using Vassal to play this particular game. So this is the initial, as you can see, it says here, the initial assault setup, which is a 1-turn scenario. You're basically playing the first turn, and that's what I'm going to go through. However, as a little caveat, I will be using the setup that I achieve from this, but moving forward to the main game. There is a reason for that, in that it's a little bit of a pain in the buttocks to set up this game. Not individually, but the actual cards, and I'll go through that, how the game is set up, and I'll explain why it's a little bit of a pain in the buttocks as we go through. But let me just zoom out a little bit so you can see the full map. Is that the full map? Oh, there it is. So it's not a massive map. It's not a massive game. You know, all right, I'm talking to someone who's playing Fire in the East currently at the moment. Into the Woods, which is a 2 map sheet. This is 1 map sheet. So in the actual box, you get 3 individual map sheets. One says this one, Allied Solo. There's a German Solo, and there's a 2-player map. So they have different ways and little arrows and hints and such forth. But this is the Allied Solo map, and you can see the front line along there. So let's just zoom in again. Oh, what's the maximum zoom? Is that the maximum zoom? That's a pretty good maximum zoom, isn't it? For these tired little eyes. So we got the counters. And I better explain the counters because, again, if you've been watching my Air and Armor, this is more like the default what we're used to. Because Air and Armor does it slightly different. But anyway, if you want to know what I mean, go and watch those videos. But you have on here, you've got your basic attack stroke defense strength with that front number. This number here is its movement value. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Because in Air and Armor, that's its defense value. Okay, so yeah, so that's its movement value. Then you've got obviously the type of unit symbol. Your standard vehicles seem to have the armored symbol on there. Then you've got the setup hex reference. In the middle here is a very important number. If I just flip this counter, you can see that's number 5 at the moment. If I decrease its steps, notice that number changes. Let's put it back to there. And I'll go through what that means in a minute. And then you've got these little 3 dots. That means it's a 3-step unit. This here means it's a 2-step unit. And you've got different colors. White means it's a green unit. Black is a standard unit. And red is a veteran unit. But these little numbers in the middle are used for when you want to do selections. It will tell you on certain charts that you've got to start, you've got to do the selection number from the highest number or the lowest number, and you either go up or you go down. So if you had 3 different units, and if you notice these 3 units, you've got the 7, 4, and the 5, they're all from the same core, as denoted by the color band. If you were asked to do something from the lowest unit first, you'd be testing this unit. But if that unit had taken a step loss, you would then be testing that unit first. So that's how the game varies. I'll just put it step back. What is going on? Okay, so those are the units. You've got the color band, and it also mentions the core that they're in. And then it's telling me that is the 277th Regiment. That is the 326th Regiment and the 272nd. Now, are these divisions? No. I'm assuming, yeah, that's the 12th SS. These might be independent. These might be actual divisions because they're denoted by the steps. Whereas if we look at the SS here, that's the 12th SS division has got, yeah, okay. Clicked. As I say, I'm going to be bumbling and fumbling along here as I'm learning the game. That 26 are the different regiments. So if we look at that division, you've got the 12th Regiment, 25th Regiment, and the 26th of the 12th SS. And the 12th SS number is in bold there. These numbers are in bold, 273. So those are actual independent divisions as such. Whereas we look at the US, the side I'll actually be playing, you can see these 3 units here, 1, 2, 3, are from the 99th Division. And notice that they have got white little dots step dots, denoting they are a green unit, whereas the second US Infantry Division, which is denoted by these three units, have got red dots denoting they are an elite division. And that will become important when you actually get into the combat phase and such forth. And as I said, the little number on the sides denoting its setup hex. So that's the counters. I don't really want to go too much more in detail other than you can see the front line, and the different cores are all color coded, which is very, very useful because it's all done with the cards, which are also color coded accordingly. Now, the actual map. So let's just zoom out just a little bit and show hide the counters. Another useful vassal feature. The actual terrain on the map. There's not too much of it. It looks cluttered, but that's primarily because of these little arrows. That does add quite a lot of eye strain is the right word. Work for the eyes. Those could be removed as well. That would obviously ease up the terrain, but those arrows are useful to denoting where units can move and advance and such forth. Now, on the map itself, you've got white hex is clear. This sort of brownish stuff is broken. The pale, well, say pale green, this greenish stuff in this hex, that is woods, and this other greenish stuff is forest. Then you've got roads. You've also got towns and cities. I'm not quite sure how the cities. According to the terrain effects chart, how do you denote what's a town and a city? Maybe it's the capitals. Elsenborn is in capitals. Bulligan is in, yeah, that looks like the case, doesn't it? Traspont, yeah, that's in capitals. Manhay's in capitals. So those must be cities. Whereas your towns, Malbody's a town. Okay, in lowercase. It would be, I'm looking at the terrain effects chart at the present moment, and it would have been useful to mention that which is which, but I'm making that assumption. Fuel depots on the hex. And you've also got victory points on the hex. So you've got these arrows, which are guiding arrows. You've also got these little numbers on some of the hexes. Those are called hold values, and they are used for German detachments and garrisons and such forth, which we'll come to when we get to that sequence in the play. And then you've got blue lines, which are rivers. They are rivers, no streams, are they? And you've got bridges across said rivers. And these hexes here are the West Wall. Okay, that's basically it, terrain-wise. Not much clear, as you would expect. These actual dotted lines that go across the hexes are core setup areas and markers, and basically split the board into various zones. Okay, and there we have the core boundary. That was the word I was looking for. PPX, fuel dumps. We haven't got any blown bridges at the moment, so towns and cities, it just seems, yeah, it could have differentiated that a little bit better, but I think it's done by the capitals, the names. Let me know in the comments if that's correct or not. And we'll take it from there. So let's bring the units back and move across to the front line. Okay, now this is a card-driven game. Cards are fundamental to pretty much everything you want to do in this, to activate units, to receive reserves, or reinforcements, replacements, combat tactics. They're all on the cards. This is a Butterfield thing, isn't it? With the D-Day series, D-Day at Omaha, and Tarawa, the cards had various things that they did on them and allowing you to do various actions and such forth. This one's even more specific. They activate specific units or divisions or corps or even armies, depending on the card. So there are certain cards that are used in each of the different, let's call them modules. So if you're playing with the German solo, you would use certain cards. And if you're playing with the Allied solo module, you're using certain cards. And it tells you in the rule book which cards to use. And it tells you that there are 3 sets of cards are used in the Allied solo. There are 34 Allied command cards, 37 German command cards, and 17 German setup cards. Allied command cards, your cards drive everything you do. It actually says in there. You start each of your impulses, alternating between the US and the Germans, by playing a card. You can't do anything without playing a card. And each card has 2 sections. So we're going to look at some of the cards and sort of go through what they do. So there's 2 cards, one from each army. And the first thing is, okay, so you've got quite a lot of information on here. The army that it activates, your 3rd Army, 5th Panzer Army, and the particular corps that it activates within that army. And then different things it can do. Now, notice there's a letter G on some of them. There's a letter A, and you've got the little arrows there. Let's go through what those mean. So it says functions marked with an arrow to the side, or the A symbol for ally solo are available. So these were the little arrow to the side and the A symbol. There's no A symbols on there, but are on this one, are available in this game because these cards are used in each of the modules. So anything with a G or marked with a 2P, which stands for 2-player, are not. So if the Germans play this card, they can't use the G, but they can use assign 2 replacements to corps, activate all units in the corps, can't use the G here, activate 1 unit, and they can use the event, bridge engineer. Now, which of those the Germans will use will be determined by the state of the board and such forth, which again we'll come to probably in a later video once we're actually starting to play the game. And then the lower part of the card are combat tactics. And again, it could be having a G, P, or 2P or an A symbol. So as we're playing as Allied solo, if I was to play this card, I could deploy all my core reserves. Can't do that one. Assign 2 replacements to corps. And these in the red are date specific. I can do that between the 20th of December to the 29th. So as the game starts on the 16th, I can't do that action. Activate all units in the corps. Okay. Activate any 1 unit. Okay. Or I can play the event, raise the alarm between the 16th and the 17th. So if this was the 18th of December, that event's gone to me. And I can't do the G1 because we're playing Allied solo. And I've got the reserve. Also here, the word primary means it's one of my key cards. That means that I pretty much have access to that card every activation. I'll double check that, but that's what I believe. Then you've got some other numbers. That's the card number. And then you've got these numbers at the top, which mean it's command value, which is important when it comes to playing the solo side. And then you've got the date of entry. So these are available right from the beginning, i.e. the 16th of December. There's lots of other cards, and we'll go through the cards as we play them, but that's the basic breakdown of pretty much most of the command cards. The other cards are the 17 German setup cards, but we'll look at those when we come to actually set up the Germans. Now, the game, and from the Allied solo perspective, is set up according to the Germans have already had their first impulse. And that's what the German setup cards do. They determine what the Germans did in their first impulse, so that you then begin the game doing the first Allied impulse. And that will be the next thing we actually set up on the board. The other thing I'd like to bring attention to is the calendar. Now, as we're only playing the first scenario, it only has on here what happens in the first scenario. So none of these other reinforcements for the other days are actually on here. If we were playing the full game, there would be actual replay reinforcements and placement units on there. Also, there's any special rules that apply to that particular day are recorded on here, and that's German reinforcements that can come in at some point, and our victory point track at the bottom. So it has the special rules that are relevant to this module as well. Okay, it also tells me how many cards I get. Allied hand sizes are only 4. Allied supplement card, and we'll go through what it means by supplement, and remember there was a card that was marked primary. That's all going to be quite relevant. But once we get there, whilst we're setting up the module ready for play, I'll go through those steps. So as I said, we're going to set up the game now, and as we play the game, I will go through the rules and as they occur. I'm not going to go into detail of every single rule because then I'll be here for hours. So as they become relevant, I will introduce them. So we're at the setting up for play. It says choose a scenario. Well, we'll say we're doing the initial assault, which is a one-turn scenario, which theoretically should be quite quick. There are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scenarios. So you've got the initial assault, which is the first turn. The Allied surprise, which covers the first 3 days of the campaign. Each turn, by the way, is a day. The German breakout covers the first 6 days of the campaign. The Battle of the Bulge, which represents the full campaign from 16th to the 29th of December. And then you've got Crisis on the Moors, which covers the critical 7 days from 22nd to the 28th of December. So that's like starting halfway through the campaign, as it were. But as I've said, we're playing the initial assault. So what does this actually mean? Game duration, 1 day, December 16th. Then gives me things that don't apply. Do not set up fuel depot markers. Place only those reserve units dated 16th. That's that one German unit. Use only those command cards dated December 16th. Well, no point playing 17th one, is it? Because it can't be used. And it says skip rules for German detachments and replacements. Great. Skip some rules. And it says each town initially held by the Allies without a VP value is now worth 1. Remember, I just show you got these VP values on the map here. 2 VP down there. So that means this town, which doesn't have a VP, is now worth 1 because it's behind the Allied front line, is under Allied control. So each town initially held by the Allies without a VP is worth 1 in this scenario. In addition, all standard other VP awards are applied. And it says victory, you lose the game immediately if any 2 German army objective markers are moved. We haven't gone through what army objective markers. Once we need to know what they are, we'll look at them up. I sort of know what they are. They're places that the army are trying to get to, and if they get close to that objective, it then moves further. Making sure I get my east and west right, moves further west. And it says you lose the game immediately if any 2 German army objective markers are moved from their starting hexes. If this does not occur, determine victory by you during the end of the day phase based on the German victory points accrued. So if the Germans accrue 6 or more VPs, and it's only the Germans that accrue victory points, it's an Allied tactical defeat, and it's 5 or fewer victory points, it's an Allied tactical victory. And that's the only 2 options. There's no, other than that, decisive move in the army objective marker. So I've got to make sure they don't get the objective markers, and also minimize the amount of victory points that they gain in 1 turn. So as I said, in the Allied solo game, units are set up to reflect their positions after the German initial attacks on the morning of December the 16th. At the moment, your Allied units are first able to respond. Okay, so it asked me to set all the basic units up, all the units in their starting hexes, and disregarding a few things like underlines and asterisks on the actual counters. It says next, adjust the starting locations of all units via the follow. There is a procedure which is implemented on the German unit adjustment display. And now I'm going to bring that up now. The German unit adjustment display. There she goes. Okay. Now, what does this actually, as I said, there's 17 of these cards. This on the Vassal automatically shuffles them. So if I bring that out, you can see that count and bring it out. It's a different card. So it automatically shuffles them. So I don't have to worry about shuffling them. Then I've got different places where these boxes have got to go. And that's in the organizer here. As I draw out a card, it's got to be placed into these respective boxes. But I don't draw all, well, it could be that I draw all 17 cards, but I don't necessarily do so. So it gives me, so it says first complete the unit placement, place all Allied and German units in their designated hexes. We've done that. Then next, prepare for unit adjustment. Shuffle the German setup cards, does it automatically. Draw cards one at a time, organize into separate piles for each core. That's what this side looks like. Okay. Stop drawing cards when there is at least one card in each of the core spaces. So there's got to be one in each of these spaces. And 3 cards in at least one core space. So I'll keep drawing these cards until that occurs. Let's do it. All right, so it says drag and drop the top card from the setup deck here. Then right click on the card to send it to the appropriate box. So let's have a look. Okay. And then I can send it to the LXV1. Now, okay. I believe, I think I'm okay with Roman numerals. L is 50, X is 10, so that's 60. V is 1, is 5 and 1. So I think that means it's the LX, which means it's a 66th core. Is that correct? If it's not, let me know. I know it's what they put on the core designations. It would have been simpler for me if they would have just put 66th core. I know it's the historical accurate, but there we go. So I send it to that core box because I'm not going to sit here and say LXV1. I think it's a 66. So I place it there. So that should, there it goes, all automated by the Vassal module. Excellent. So we do that with the next one. So that's the XLV11. So X. Now, X before the L means it's 10 less. So 50, L is 50. So that means it's 40. V, 45th, C, 1. So it's 47th core, 47th Panzer Corps. Again, I'm incorrect. Let me know. All right. So again, we send that to that box and that should be, there you go. It's popped in there. So I'm going to keep doing that. LX, that's like 80th core. Until there's at least one first SS Panzer Corps. That's easy. So how are we looking at the present moment? So looks like we've got one in each of those. Remember, we carry on to there's one at least in every single core box, and one of the core boxes has 3. Okay, back to there. I'm just going to keep drawing. All right, how are we looking now? So we've got, all right, so we've at least got 3 in that box. Some of these might have 2 in them and such forth, but until we get one for the LX V11 core, which is 50, 60, 7th core, 67th core. We've got to keep drawing. And there it is. Okay, so there's one in each box, and that one's got three. That's only got one. Most of these have only got one. That's got two. And that one's got three. That's got one. Okay, so the rest of these cards are unused. Then we follow these instructions here in what to do. Okay, so here's my first gripe with the game. I don't know how many, in fact, it's the only gripe that's probably going to be in this video. Moving forward, I don't know if there's going to be any further gripes because I haven't played it that far. But my first gripe with this game is the size of these cards. They're standard size. Fair enough. I believe they should be tarot sized, and I'll explain why. Okay, so if we're going to do this core first, and it says set place in box 1 of the German unit adjustment display box. Let's, because we do these in the order shown. Okay, going back there, so it's moved it to this box, and we follow the instructions from that box. So place the top card of the second core in box 1. If a second card for the core was drawn, place it into box 2. If a third card, you place it in box 3, and then you follow the instructions in those boxes. The gripe: these cards are too small to see. Okay, I'm not sure why that one's sitting. Where's that come from? Don't know where that card came from, but anyway, okay. So, all right, let me just see if I really zoom in on these cards here. It's a bit blurred on there. So I thought, right, okay, let me have a look at that particular card. So obviously I've got the card itself. And if I can show you in the camera off to the side there. All right. Now, obviously, the camera's not zooming in correctly, fully, but it's still quite tiny. I had to use a magnifying glass to be able to read what is written on those counters. There it is, my magnifying glass, because I couldn't fully work out what was on there. Now, let's follow the instructions anyway. So that's gripe over, because it is a minor gripe. Okay, it's definitely a first world problem, isn't it? So these cards are actually done from north to south. So I could bring this card here. Could I zoom in? I can't zoom any further. And notice the letter A there. It's the A that each card has got, or each core, depending, has 2 or 3 cards, A, B, and if it's got 3 cards, it's a C. And those have references to, depending on which card is in which one of those 3 boxes. So we've got A in that box, there's going to be no change. So we follow down the unit. So that unit looks like it's still 0206. That's the 0206 hex, so that's fine. This unit here, my unit, hasn't changed. This unit here, that still looks like it's got 3 stars. 3 stars. 3 steps. The 4th ring and the 04 are still there. This unit here looks like it's still okay because it's got the 04. And then this unit here, 06. See, I can't determine if that's 06 or not. It looks like it's still 2 steps. Yeah. And this unit. So it looks like literally that nothing actually happened in that first impulse in that game, in that area. Okay. So then I can place in discard box, which means it moves. Well, let's just zoom out a little bit on here. There you go. Move to the discard box. zoom in a bit. So as it says, instructions, move any units from their starting hexes to the new hexes as depicted in the illustration. None applied. The illustration may show a unit is reduced. Flip it. No, the illustration, blah, blah, blah. Speaking the English, the illustration may also list an allied unit as eliminated. No, it has, and so on. So we've done that. We'll now move on to the first SS Panzer Corps, and we place, there's only one of those. There could have been two, but there isn't. Oh, I've done that wrong there. And there we go to there. So let's bring that to the map and then follow those steps. All right, so there's the first. Now, that's a considerably bigger corps. Okay, all these units. So, as you can see, it's pretty difficult to work out what the bleeding hell is going on in that one. Now, out of the 17 cards, there is actually 3 first SS Panzer Corps ones, so marked A, B, and C. But only one came out in our particular setup, and that's the A card, which we're looking at here. Oh, that's upside down, but there we go. I am now going to have to use the magnifying glass to fully able to see. So if these were tarot size cards, that picture would be bigger and easier to ascertain. Because this is the only card that was in the actual draw, all these other instructions do not apply. So I'll only explain what all this means if that will occur, which will be one of the cards which has 3 in it. So let's see if I can ascertain what the hell is going on. Okay, so I'm starting from north to south. So those 3 units there, 4, 5, and 6, and so I'm using the magnifying glass. They have remained where they are. My 2 units here, I'm looking at those little numbers in the middle, that 13 and 15. They have remained where they are. There's been no change there. Okay, moving down to this hex, there are 3 units in there, and they are marked 10, 3, and 2. That's correct. Okay, so they've remained where they are. Moving along to, right, so I'm going to close that back down. These 3 here, 14, 15, and 16. All right, there is a change here. The 14 and 15 have remained, but it looks like the 16 has been flipped. It's taken a step loss. Increase, decrease step. Okay. No, it's right. So its strength is in brackets. That means it doesn't exert the zone of control from memory, whereas these ones do. Let me just double check that. It denotes that the unit has no zone of control on its own and cannot attack on its own. So it can still attack if it's got other units which are also not bracketed, but it can't attack on its own. So, okay, that's our first divergence from the initial startup. And then in this hex here, we actually have an improved position, just making sure that the unit is still the same. As I say, this is a little struggle. By the looks of it, yes. So I can put an improved position. Place a marker in there. Okay. Right. Then this row, he's definitely fallen back. And he's fallen back to this hex here. Doesn't seem to have taken any step losses. Okay, and then we've got the Germans have moved up. So in the hex that's adjacent to him, so it's this hex here, we have first SS Piper. There he is. Okay, denote that he has got 2 symbols on him here. That means he's basically a combined formation, infantry and armor. Is he stacked with somebody? He is. He's stacked with. I'm really struggling here. It's an infantry unit. No, it isn't. It's an armored unit. It's this one here. Okay. So they're in that hex. Then directly behind them, we have two infantry units. We have the 5th and the 8th in that hex there. And one of those is reduced. It's the 8th. And that's decreased. So he's got one step. That's the 3rd Fallschirmjäger. Yeah. Okay. Both from the 3rd Regiment. And this unit doesn't look like it's moved. The 150. No. Okay. That's that card done. And you can see I did struggle a little bit there. Oh, no, there's actually another marker on there, a German marker. Let me have a look. Right. Okay. On the card, anything that's marked, you can see the card there. That unit there is marked with, it's actually been eliminated. So it counts as victory points to the Germans. Okay, so I'm just bringing up this chart here. I'm recording it here. It says for every 2 Allied units eliminated, 1 VP. So just a reminder that he is eliminated. I'm going to actually put it down here. There doesn't seem to be an eliminated box, but we know we're not playing onto the 18th. So, yeah, that's effectively half a VP. So you only get it when they get the 2. And then we can click that and send to this card box. So we bring that up now. We should have 2 units, 2 cards there. Right. Okay, German setup organizer, the next one. So we'll send that to. There's only one of them. Let's see where that goes. All right, that's on core. There we go. The LXV1. Let's bring the one card up. There it is. And I'm going to actually pull the actual card because I'm even struggling. That's on maximum zoom. As there's only one card, as I said before, the actual text is ignored. And it seems like there's a few improved positions and dispersals going on there. And that's again card A for the. Now, in the actual deck, there is only 2 of those cards. So we're not looking at card B, we're looking at card A. That's telling me that unit there gets an improved position. It doesn't look like it's changed its strength. So place marker, improved position. There it goes. Unit next to it, that German unit, doesn't seem to have changed its strength. I'm again using the magnifying glass. No, it's still what. Because do remember, when these units flip, so if we just flip it anyway, let's decrease it. Notice the actual middle number changes. So that's useful for checking. So that is stayed the same. Okay. However, we have got a change here. This unit here, 423, is that the right correct unit? Yes. It's fallen back to here. So it's obviously got pushed back in the initial German offensive. So it's fallen back to there. And the German armored unit, 244, has moved to there. And that is the 62nd has moved to behind it. However, notice it's only got 2 steps left. 3 steps. 3 steps left. So it's taken losses doing that. So decrease. So it's changed to 4-3 as shown on there. Yeah, that's all correct. And this unit has been dispersed. Place marker. That's that card finished. That wasn't too bad. So for the 58th Panzer Corps, only one card, and it's card B. So I've pulled card B. Let's see if I can suss out what has happened here in that first actual German impulse. Okay. Look like this unit here, the 112, has been pushed back. Just double checking on my 112, yeah, and it's taken a step loss and it's become 17. So let's flip that over. Ooh, 37. Okay, is that right? Yes. Yes, it's 37, not 17. And it's fallen back to there and has been dispersed. There's combat effects for being dispersed, and again, we'll go through that once we actually get to the combat phases. Now, what is moved into there? Okay, according to my little thing, it's a 116th Panzer Division, unit number it's either a 16 or an 18. That one there. In it goes. It looks like it stayed at full strength, and that looks like it's still got its 01. It has indeed. Okay, directly behind that is a infantry unit, 4-3. Looks like it's that one there. Okay, 560. 2 steps, 04, that's remained. Then 02 has moved to here. 03 is also moved to here. Notice the elite red there, and then this unit here has been flipped to 1 step and is also there. So it took some losses in that initial combat. And that's it. Disperse, yeah, that looks like it's it. Woohoo! We are making progress. We're cooking on gas. All right, so let's just send that to the discard box. I think we're going to get our very first complex starting situation because there's 3 cards here. Right, and these are placed in the order that they are shown now. So even though this is the third card drawn, it's the first card placed in box 1. This was the second card drawn, so it's now placed in box 2. And this was the first card drawn that gets placed in box 3. And that's where we now look at this. So there's 3 actual cards available there. So I'm going to go through those one at a time, and we're at this Panzer Corps here. So we bring this card up first, following the instructions on that card. So move any units from their starting hexes to the new hexes depicted in that illustration. The illustration may show unit is reduced. Flip it over. The illustration may also list an allied unit as eliminated. Okay. Give the German 1 VP for every 2 allied units eliminated, and then place any dispersed, blow bridges, or IP markers. So we follow that picture. We ignore all the text. However, when we come to this C card, we follow the text. We don't look at the picture. We follow the text. So once we get there, we'll get there. Okay. So we start with this unit. It's telling me that that's fallen back to that hex. And looking at it, it's flipped, it's taken a step loss, and it's dispersed. Okay, so double check, that's 110. Yeah, 23. Yeah, 36. Okay, so that's fine. Following up into this hex, which is shown by this here. Okay. Ruby Day. All right, so it looks like an infantry has gone across. And it looks like the number 9. Number 9 and number 9 infantry. So they've moved into there without taking any losses. Then they are stacked with a unit number 2. An armiger. There he goes. Boom. Okay. And just below that, we've got a bridge blown marker. So let me find a bridge blown marker. The counters. Those are markers. German markers, allied markers. There we go. That bridge is that's that marker that's pointing at that hexo. So that's telling me that that bridge got blown. Okay. So in the hex directly behind those 2 lead units, you have a unit 27 and the unit 3. Okay. Look, did that take a hit? It did. There you go. Unit 27, unit 3. So we're happy with that. Behind them, we have 2-step 15. Yes. Then below that, we have, I know this is taking a bit of time, guys, but I just want to make sure it's right. And you can see how it works. 13, 14, and therefore I'm assuming those 3 are all correct. So we have 4, 10, looks like 6. 4, 6, and 10. Right. So that's this card completed. So we'll send that discard. Now we bring up the next card. So this is instructions 2. So let's have a look what it says. If the core card in this box complete the instructions for card 1 first, so it tells you to do the 1, which we've done. Follow the adjustment instructions marked with a 2, followed by the letter A, B, or C that matches the letter in the title of card 1. So card 1 had B. So we're following 2B instructions because it was card B. So this is actually card itself is card C, but we're following the 2B instruction because B was in the card 1 slot. I hope that sort of makes sense. Follow the adjustment instructions followed with 2, followed by the letter A, B, or C that matches the letter in the title of card 1, which was C. Okay. So we're looking at 2B, and it then tells me any further direction. It says 2.2p. So we're looking for 2p, that's second Panzer, and 2.2p. Can we find him? That's 304. So it's that unit there, 2, second Panzer, to hex 1708. Which is that hex there. So they've pushed it into that hex as well. So that's 1709. 3.2p, which is that unit there, to 1610. Wow. They did push, didn't they? To 1610. 304 second Panzer. That's this unit here. to 1807. That looks like it's that hex there. 1808, 1807. And German control marker in 1709. So they've taken control of Clairvaux, which is a town which was behind Allied lines. We know that gives them a victory point. So I haven't even been able to play a card yet, and they've got a victory point. A bit unfair, but there we go. So let's give them a German control marker. Do hiss. In there. Ooh. That's very in your face, isn't it? Boom. Yeah, that could have been a bit more grayed out, but that is a victory point, which I'm giving them now. Right. So that's that card done. We don't look at the picture. We only follow the instructions in the 2B. So place in the discard box. And then the last one, let me just bring it up, is there. So let's see what it says under the instructions for that. So the third one, if the core has a card in this box, which it does, complete the instructions for card 1 and card 2 first. We've done. And then follow the adjustment instructions marked with 3, or in one case marked with 3 followed by the letter of the title initial card. Well, we've only got a 3. There's only one option. This is repair bridge 1708. So I'm assuming that's that bridge there. Yeah. So there it is. So that's actually gone. That bridge has been repaired. And that's it for that particular core. So we actually got to see a whole sequence there of 3 cards. Look at how far that's rocketed to the front. So that's something I've really got to deal with once I get to actually do something. Right. Next up, we have this unit, this card. Place in box 1. There's only one card for the LXX 85th core. German 85th core. And there they are. The pink bits. Okay. They had a potential of 2 cards. They got one of them. And it's card. Oh, what did I do with the card? There it is. Card B. So I can discard card A. Card B. Right, so again, I'm just looking at the picture. Looks like we've got a couple of bridges blown there. So let's bring the bridge markers out. We'll put those there for the moment. Okay, so let's just shift that across a little bit. This unit here, the Allied unit, has remained intact. There's only one Allied unit that displays 28 Infantry Division, 109th Regiment. Looks like it's still sitting there. We have a blown bridge, and it's pointing at that hex side there. So rotate, no, wrong way, rotate, rotate, rotate. I know it says close. Control close bracket, control. There we go. Right, so it's pointing at that bridge. This one here is pointing at that bridge. Right, that unit's still intact. Okay, now armor hasn't moved. And these 3, one of them has changed. So we've got the okay, which one has changed? See, this is the problem. I now have to get magnifying glass out again. 5 and 6 look like they stay the same. So 5 and 6, so it looks like number 7. Let's flip that one. Got the 233. That's correct. That's the only thing on that card. So that attack, whatever attack they did there, Didn't work too well, did it? No, no. And place in discard box. Okay. And we're now on to the last German core. Let's bring this back up. Top card, place in box 1. Next card, place in box 2. And I think there was only 2 options for this core. Okay, so we're looking at card A and then card B. So for card A, we look at the picture, and card B will follow whatever instructions it says. All right, so this armored unit looks like it's intact. It looks like it's got no 4 on it, 5, 2 steps, so no losses there. That looks like it's intact. That looks like it's intact. So all these look like they're identical to set 6, 7. However, there is a blown bridge. Can I clone that? I can indeed. Bridge is blown there. Okay. And the Allied infantry unit is intact as well. So that's card A. I'll just discard that, send to discard pile, and then card B. Right, it tells me, because obviously card A, it says the written instructions here. Right, 316, as I ignore the picture, 316, 212 to 2204. 2202, so let's move forward to there. 423, 212 to 2402. Oh, they crossed the river. And 276 to 2203. They sort of swapped. Okay, fair enough. That's it. Place in discard box. Right. Okay. That means, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit now, that is the setup for this game, ready for me to begin playing. And also, as I said, I'm going to do this for the campaign game. I'm not going to go through this whole process again for that game. Let's just remove move markers. Okay. That's also the last time we see these, so let's just close those down. I know I went into quite a bit of detail there. See how it works. And as I say, the only gripe I have, I think those cards should be tarot cards to really bring out those pictures a bit more, so it's easier to see. Now we go on to still setting up play. All right, we've got to do deck preparation. So we've got to sort out the commander cards. That's automatically done. Within each nationality, separate the initial cards, those with the date of December 16th, in the upper right corner from the reinforcement cards. So the module, thankfully, has done that already. So let's have a look at the German card deck display and bring that up here. Okay. Now the module has set this up already, but I want to show you guys what should happen. So it says sort the command cards by side. Done that. Okay. Then further separate each side's initial cards into 2 piles, primary and all others referred to as supplemental. So you can see the ones that say primary have the word primary on the bottom. Now, a primary card means you should get it every turn. And the supplemental, you'll get them every now and again. Okay. There's a procedure for that, and we'll come to the procedure when I'm sorting my cards out. Also pull out the 4 German army and army group initial cards, those with a command level 4 or 5. And that's what is in here. Command level 4 or 5. So I pulled those out. After sorting, place the cards as follows. Right. Shuffle the 14 German initial supplemental cards and place them face down in the German draw pile. They'll be in here. Place the 7 German initial primary cards, numbered 35. Oh, it's gone off the display here. See the actual card number 35 in the discard pile. 35, 44. So these are the cards that got them to where they are on the map currently. 49. Let's make sure these are correct. 56. 58. 62. And 66. So those are the initial so that's what they use in that first impulse. And the 4 German army, 39, 40. This is the card I was looking for, and 68. And army group B, 61. So those cards have been used already. And they are placed in the discards, as we've just done. Place aside the 12 German reinforcements cards for use later in the game. Well, there's going to be no reinforcements, so they're sitting there. Place the 3 Allied initial primary cards face down in the draw pile. So that's the Germans set up. So if we're drawing from here, these will be supplemental. Notice it hasn't got the word primary. Okay, so none of these should be primary. And how many cards do they actually have? So there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They've still got 14 cards to play with. All right, so we can place, can I click on these to all go back in? No. So as I'm placing them back in there, they did, and then they'll come out in a different order. So they're all supplemental cards ready to be drawn. And I think that's what the number 14 is, German draw pile 14. Okay. Yeah, shuffle the 14 initial supplemental cards and place them face down in the German draw pile box on the map. And that's the German cards ready to go. So let's just close that box and then bring up the Allied command display. All right, and you can say, oh, what's that? Loads of little arrows on here. What do we actually do? And I've got to build a hand. I've got supplemental cards, 9, Allied draw cards, 3, and such forth. So let's go through this. Okay, so I'm only playing with cards marked with the 16th of December, and I have 3 primary cards, which is these 3 in here. So let's have a quick look at them. Okay. Not sure what's going on here. Right. So as you can see, we've got the word primary on the bottom there with different cores and such forth. So I place them back in there and they'll be drawn out at different times. So that will be, yeah, making sure they does it shuffle. So those 3 are placed in there at the start of the game. Place 3 Allied initial primary cards face down in the draw pile box. Okay, on the Allied command display, Allied draw card box. That is that one, isn't it? I better double check that is the right box. Yeah, draw pile box. Okay, bring that back. There we go. It then says draw 4 cards from the available supplementary cards. That's this lot here. It says I've got 9. I'm looking at the card. I've got 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I've got 9 of those. And what are these? What's this then? Oh, those are additional cards. 27th. Yeah, we won't be playing with that one. Be a bad boy, will we? Okay. So the supplementary cards, draw 4 cards from the available supplementary cards box, sight unseen, and place face down in the draw pile box. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's telling me there I've got 7 cards. So that went up as I went there. So there was 3 primary and then 4. Shuffle the draw pile and draw 4 cards for your initial hand. Okay, so build hand pile. So I'm now drawing 4 cards from there. 1, 2, 3. And drawing from there, I assume we'll shuffle them. Okay. And then shuffle the allied draw pile and draw 4 cards that you've done that. Then place the 22 allied reinforcement cards in the cards entering play box, which I'm assuming is that there. Remember, we're not going to be playing with that. We're only playing 1 turn. So that is literally the 4 cards I'm going to be playing in this scenario. So let's put them in the allied hand. I have a little allied hand box here. Okay. So assuming if I click on that, send cards to command card stack on clicking a button. Let's have, because this is my hand that I can play with. So we've got 1 primary. So notice there's a supplementary card there. 2 primary cards. Okay, so I've got 2 primary cards and 2 supplementary cards. That's telling so I can activate 5th Corps, XV111 Airborne Corps, 18th Airborne Corps, and no command. Looks like it's an event. So, okay, it doesn't look like a great card. I'm not sure if it's a great card or not until I actually start playing. And it's telling me on here, allied supplement cards added to the allied draw pile, allied supplement cards 4, allied hand size 4. So I only get 4 cards for the turn. Okay, and that is them. Place the 5 allied units with a printed entry date of 16th in the allied reserve unit box. Now, I think this scenario said we're not playing with reserves, or is it reinforcements? I know skip rules for German detachments. Place only those reserve units dated December 16th on the calendar. So there are some. Okay, I'm also learning this module as well. Okay, so there is a unit box which looks like this. So that reserve unit that was on the turn display, that's my eliminated unit. And these are my 5 units that are marked with the 16th. There is an S there. I'm not quite sure what that S means, but we'll find that out as we go along. Maybe that's special or something like that. So I've got 5 units in reserve. The Germans have got 1 unit in reserve. The OKW reserve probably won't be introduced in this. Only coming if they reach the Meuse. And I'm not sure how von der Heit, that's the German paratrooper, isn't it? So how that comes into the game, we'll find out as we play. Okay, so what else have we got to do? Place aside all units marked with an R for replacements, right? Place German units with OK double, yeah, done that. Place the VDH, done that. Don't have to worry about fuel depot. Yeah, finally place 1 set of 60 combat chits. That is something we need. We'll go into once combat occurs. Love the system. We'll explain in detail. If you haven't seen any other videos on this game, absolute treat. You do not roll these things for combat. They're used for other things. The combat results is done by combat chits, and it is quite smooth and elegant. That's it. Set up, ready for us to go and begin. Which is as far as I really want to take this video. I'm not sure how the game's going to play. I read the rules. It's all right reading rules. It's how you actually implement them. That's where the brain ache's going to come. So I'm going to be going, as I say, going through it slowly. The first thing that will happen will be my first impulse, and I've obviously got to hold the line to stop the Germans gaining extra VP. And how long does the turn last? It won't finish when I've got my 4 impulses done. The Germans have still got quite a few cards to play. So yeah, let's go back up to the top and have a quick end of video discussion. Okay, so this is where setting it up, and it's sort of like, how long does this actual turn last? I thought I've only got 4 cards to play. I haven't. I can keep drawing. I've got a hand of 4. Okay. So, and I also may pass. So you may pass instead of playing a command card. I'm reading the rules here. If you have no cards, you must pass. Of completing a command or passing, draw a card from your draw pile. So we knew there was 7 cards. How many cards? Hold on, blank. Yeah, rules in hand. Draw 4 cards for your initial hand. Draw 4 cards from the available supplemental. Sight unseen. So there was 3 primary, 4 supplemental. That's 7. 4 have gone into my hand. So there's 3 cards I can still draw. So I've got 7 cards that I can play in this. And we know the Germans have got 14. Okay. And then if I could pass, repeat input. Repeat German and Allied impulses in the command phase until the German draw pile is exhausted. Now I know they're drawing 2 cards per phase, one of which is their command card, which they follow those instructions for whichever formation, and one's a combat card or supplemental card, whatever it needs to. It could be an event or something like that. If German cards run out during a German impulse, complete the impulse, then conduct one last Allied impulse to end the day, even if cards remain in your hand or draw pile. Okay. If German cards run out during an Allied impulse, complete the impulse to end the day. The day does not end when your cards are exhausted. Okay. So they could be doing things that I can't respond to. So I'm going to pace myself, but not pace myself too well that I end up with cards spare. So, okay, that's it. Ready to go. The next video will be the Allied first impulse. It might be a bit more. It might be the Allied first and the German impulse. I don't know. We'll see how long it goes. I don't want the video to be too long, but I want to make sure as best as possible I can get it right. So that's now the caveat. Anything you guys see and you're going, no, 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 no. Don't just go, no, 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 no. Put it in the comments, please, because that's how A, I learn. B, other people who've never played this learn too. And that's part of the purpose of my channel, isn't it? So it's to play through these things, learn them, and help other people to play them and learn them. So we're all in this together. If you could do me a favor and do the like if you enjoyed what I did there, and if you didn't like what I did there, well, let me know why, and I can improve. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. It all helps the channel. And any comments, including everything I've just mentioned about improving the gameplay, proving what could have been done, and such forth, let me know. It's all appreciated and it's all responded to. And finally, play games. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. That's what it's all about. Until next time, bye, Internet.